Holy shit.
same level, right? I've been had for a long time. We've had these levels on. So
Mm.
the last macro video I released on YouTube was saying if you break down from this trend line, what you've basically said is you've lost this range. This was the new range you were in, and the range before that, the consolidation range was this one. You've lost this range if you've genuinely gone and turned this to resistance, which we did on the lower time frame. So if you start looking at the daily, you went, broke down, turned the 2022 level into resistance, right, and then you broke down. So then after that, obviously the next key level is a straight up your next yearly levels, which coincides with the range low. So that's where you went. Put a smiley face around that area. So if you take a look, what I'm marked out here is a daily. On the daily, you can see that's a daily buy zone right there, right? Huge sell-off candle after you broke in, daily buy zone, and then you had your, so there's your initial support. There's your big rate on liquidity that went on to your actual key level, the yearly level. And then after that, what did you do? You went and reconfirmed your daily buy zone back into support. So if you go and we take a look, obviously was there's your initial support, huge rates on liquidity, resistance, right? Kept on resisting, and then you flipped that back into support. So you got that smiley face on Solana, and then went straight back up. First target would have been this, but again, we just didn't stop there. So if you don't stop there, your next level is just going to be the next key level higher, and that is pretty much a pixel perfect snipe of the 179 level there.
Yeah, that's clean, man.
Yeah, so this played out pretty much nicely. So now for Solana, it's like, I'm sure a lot of people would have capitulated. But if we have managed to go and actually reclaim this back into support, and I'd want to see on a higher time frame this entire zone, not just like the bottom. Lower time frame wise, you go level to level, but on a macro scale, I want to see this entire area basically break above this area, flip this area into support. You do that, I think our actual ABCD target that we've been holding out on for Solana. So if I turn that macro ABCD on, wherever it is, one sec, not that, where's it gone? That one right there. The ABCD 2.0 from that zero point 0.5 retracement here basically, right? That ABCD target could very well go and hit, and the beautiful thing now is it's not just the fact we've got that. If we now take a look at this on a macro, that is enough of a pullback for us to probably go ahead and do this. If we do, here's a low, here's a high, here's a higher low, there we go, 591. That's basically a 618, right? That is very close to a 618 right there. And depending on where you take it from, even if you just do absolute macro, that's pretty much a 618. Just pin that there like this. Make sure it's pinned proper, yep. And therefore, if it's a 618, we're looking around a 1.618 extension. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that somewhere around the 1.618. So since this isn't a perfect 618 retracement yet on the higher time frame, we're not going to be surprised if it chops somewhere around the 1.618, right? We're not looking for that clean, exact 1.618 hit. But now we've got another wave structure. If Solana manages to reclaim this as bottom, as to why we could go way higher than just the original $300 price target, right? Maybe go towards the 400s even before actually putting a top in for this cycle, right? So in terms of ABCDs, we now have another argument for why we should be aiming higher. That is, of course, given the fact we don't, we go and reclaim structure. We go and break back off of this trend line, flip that level, like I said, back into support. But if all of that happens, then you're back in this range. The range highs is pretty much all-time highs now, plus the raid. And then if you get above that B point, then again you're gonna have no resistance in terms of historic levels. You'd be aiming for this in terms of wave structure, and then looking for fibs, fib retracements, fib extensions, so on and so forth, trend-based fib extensions, to give yourself projections as to where could you possibly top out, so on and so forth. Well, now you have another wave structure to take you higher. So this is absolutely fantastic. And of course, now if you were to go to something like the monthly, you could definitely do this as well. Okay, that's your low. Your next swing lows down over here. And in fact, if it did go over there, and we took it from, let's say, this swing low to here, we pretty much have a 618 nearly hits anyway, right? So the argument for this 1.618 is there. There's a lot of, from the lows, there's a lot of swing points through which you can put this where you're getting very, very close to that 618. So somewhere around that macro 1.618 target, that's a new wave structure that I'd definitely consider for Solana. Let me take this down. Let me put this on group 3. That's where it was. There we go. Right, so of course we have the 309 target first. Let's see what happens there. But you know, we now know what we're looking for. We're looking for, you know, flip, go, consolidate, maybe go flip. If this flips, that's going to be your next target. And then we're looking for distributive structure, inverted head and shoulder, inverted smiley faces, sorry, right? Things like that to come in before we can say there's a top. We want, you know, bearish divergences weekly and above, so on and so forth. But until we get that, this is a completely new and completely valid wave structure that we've got on Solana. So the reason I entered Solana again is because of that smiley face down over there. Again, this was a scenario described on the YouTube videos I released, right? I didn't have enough like time, no signal to actually stay on top of alerting all of these, sadly. But the actual levels that I'm watching for these is the same levels that were described in the video. So the sole entry is this one that I'm currently running. So if I go, here we go. That's Sol. Just put it in the chat.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, that's a good entry, man.
129, yeah, bro. The smiley face just ticked it off. So when we would have been filled between 100 and whatever this is, 130 something to 126, which is my average is around 129. But I would have sized up if I'd actually caught the smiley face before this pump. So I'm in it with about, so like I said, I do not ever go all in on limits. So I've got about like 60% of my actual position size in that particular limit there. And this is by no means a complete swing either. This was meant to be taken as a trade to begin with. So I've taken some profits when 179 got hit. Now I'm willing to actually size up if we can go and reclaim this, right? There's no way I'm just going to not take profits here when we're pumping back into resistance at the end of the day. Once we confirm we go and flip this back into support, I will happily size up on this. It's going to be a risk. It's already a risk-free trade, but it's going to be a risk-free size up to my full position size, and we can ride it higher. But for now, I've opened a head short when the 179 got pinged. Because if you again look at the hourly, right, that got pinged there. So hourly, we know it's 1 to 5 minute entry models. When you get pinged and you see candles like this, I just opened a head short there, right? Like a 33%, my usual long size on the short for now, because at the end of the day, we are above the resistance, so I'm not going to be fully positioned of it on a short above resistance. We break down and turn this into resistance as well. I'll simply just size up on the short, and you know the long is going to be risk-free at break even. And if we accept back below this level, I'll just take some more profits off the long. I'll just keep moving it back and forth like that. But nothing complicated went into this again, right? That's the thing. So it's literally just buyer seller zones. That's it. Yearly buyer seller zone. This is the 2024 12-month macro read buyer zone mid, and this is the 2023/2024 12-month buy seller zone high. Right? Those are the two levels that we've been pinging around from. But for now, obviously, we've gone back into resistance. We've rejected, so wouldn't be surprised if we did get a pullback. If we do get a pullback back towards this area on Sol for whatever reason, and it's a successful retest, something like this, that's going to be a nice area to enter. But otherwise, obviously, at this particular area, I wouldn't be looking to enter anything until you now, basically, the entries here now are going to be scalps, right? So let's say you go and flip on a lower time frame, you start to see 3 minutes up to 15 minutes flips of 2021 12-month sellers on low into support. You're going to try and scalp that up to 2022 levels. Now you guys know how this works by now, right? So you're going to try to scalp it there. But the reason you're not going to just open a blind swing here is because now on the higher time frame, what you're doing is pushing up to resistance. You've not reclaimed resistance into support. You know, you've not confirmed now that sellers have relinquished control of this area, right? All buyers did is pump off a key support, but this area that used to be key support is still resistance, still an area where sellers are in control over the buyers, right? That is not something you open a massive swing on and just, you know, let it stay. So now to open a swing, if no action was taken over here, I'd wait for a flip at this level. As soon as this gets flipped, that's where you're going to be swinging on, because then you have the thesis that buyers have once again taken control back of this area here, and then you'd be targeting this range once again. And like we said, we've got new targets as well. So ABCD is taking us up towards $400 basically. So then that's what I'll be looking towards. But for now, at resistance, let's see what weekly close brings in about 5 hours, 48 minutes. Ultimately, what I'd want to see is close above the trend line. In an ideal scenario, you're going to be closing above 188. I don't know if that's going to happen in the next 5 hours, 48 minutes, but at least this, right? My optimistic goal would be to, if the weekly closes above 179, that would make this weekly candle extremely, extremely bullish. And in my opinion, going into next week, it's not going to take much from buyers if they can keep that momentum up to just flip this 188 level into support to then send this back into this range. But if we close below this entire thing, that's a weekly pump up into what used to be support and a confirmation that it is for now still an area where sellers are in control, i.e. resistance, right? So let's see what happens here on Solana. But that's a beautiful pump nonetheless, right? Strategic reserve, you know. Trump just ankle crossed the entire market using the tariff news to absolutely, like, you know, spike the price down. And then once you hit these absolutely pivotal areas, just say, oh yeah, strategic reserve, and just pump the price back up again. Another thing to watch for here that I just noticed is, of course, we have a daily, what about a weekly? We have a weekly buyer zone right here, right? You're above that for now, which is good. You're trying to reclaim. If you close above this week, I'd be looking for a pullback into this next week, some sort of massive smiley face. If this were to happen, that is something you can now add. You know, this is something I'll size up on my current long if this comes, or you can open a new position on if you're not in a position yet for Solana, right? Spot would be way easier than trying to leverage such a wide margin. So if you try to leverage this zone, then what I'd do is look for level to level or zone to zone, split into two zones, something like this. Look for zone to zone to make it easier in terms of risk management. But ultimately, if the smiley face does come in here and you manage to base above the trend line and ideally at least above 169, I think, yeah, Sol pushes higher and you try to reclaim this zone, right? Level by level here first, but you flip this zone into support. That is when you get that big push higher on Solana. So let me just go back to the chat. Oh, okay. Wait, a few more people joined. Let's take a look. It's here. Nasir, Sol, welcome guys, welcome. Okay. So that's Solana. Let's take a look. What else? Bitcoin. That's obviously, let's look at Bitcoin first. The reason I opened a short here, guys, should be obvious. We've hit back into what used to be support, and this is a scenario I described before, right? So the only way I said I'm going to turn into a macro bear is if we lose 2024 seller zone completely, right? And then we pump up into this area, but then start treating it as resistance, i.e. what was once support, this entire diagonal, we start turning to resistance. So now if we start grinding up, but we don't actually reclaim any of these, and by the time March ends, right, 2025, by the time March ends, you can see we've got a beautiful intersection right here. If we have turned this into resistance by the time March ends, then I'll be looking for scalp to swing shorts. I'm not going to open a big swing short straight away, but I'll be starting to size or open a short swing short, right? Not all at once, but like starting to size up on the shorts and really looking to being aggressive on the scalp shorts, scalp to swing mindset shorts, until we can go and flip this back into support. Because now, if we do not flip this back into support, what we're saying is the trend that was demanded of us according to this, right? So the trend that was demanded of us according to this diagonal, we kept up with it, but ultimately we couldn't do enough to break out of the range we were in. Sellers to control, drove us lower. So then on the pump up, if we can't reclaim, what we're saying is buyers can't put in enough buying pressure, provide enough momentum to overcome the gradient of the lines, right? I.e. the gradient of the lines in this case is representing how much of a, let's say, momentum do you need from the buyer side / the seller side to reclaim trend to that direction. So we're saying buyers need to push the price up higher than the gradient of this line, right? To reclaim the bullish momentum. I.e. you want to be climbing these levels faster than it's going up. You want to be outperforming the rate at which these lines are climbing. That's the way you get above this and treat this as support. If buyers can't do that, then you're going to be treating this as resistance. So then you'd be looking for lower prices, right? So do bear that in mind. Don't be buy when everyone is fearful, right? So these levels here, buy when everyone is fearful. Once this is lost, but it hits our next main target, which was first and foremost these 0.5s. That was the first bounce point. That was the mids of the big fair value gaps we had. And then the next area here is the next mid of this weekly fair value gap you had right over here. Right, so you've had a big liquidity raid. You have your initial range here, right there. You have your big liquidity rate that's gone to targets. So now if you can, reclaim this level into support and try to flip this back into support, of course Bitcoin goes up, in my opinion. Like I said, 120, 130, right, my final targets for this bull cycle. We have a chance to go and hit those, right? But if we don't, and we keep turning this into resistance, then I'll be looking for maybe some more flushes down, maybe even deeper before we go higher. Maybe like, just another pullback towards 89, whatever, right? If you start chopping about low volatility, maybe we get that deeper flush before going higher. So what happens at these lines is very, very important. And your deadline to reclaim these lines, right? The deadline to actually get above both the golden pocket and the liquidity rate is basically start of April. You can see very beautiful intersection right there, right? So that is Bitcoin. But I have opened a scalp short, right, when we hit this area here, simply because what was on support is now resistance, right? So this is just a scalp short. I still have my long open. So if I was to put my long up for BTC, which is, I believe, right over here. 1 second. Let me just get it up. Where's it gone? There we go. Okay, let me just put that in chat for you. Can't just talk about entries and not show them. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of that in the timeline. Everyone's going to be like, oh, I bought a shit ton of Bitcoin at 78 when everyone was really, really bearish just a week ago. But yeah, right over here. So this is the Bitcoin entry. There we go. Fair value gap got raided, and another important thing, I've got it turned off for now, but it's there. If I just turn it back on, is, where's it gone? 1 sec. It's up here. What did we hit? This is your front run, right? Remember, I know some of you, you Soul and Nasir brothers, you haven't gone through this session yet, so it won't make sense to you yet. But we'll go over it in core. These ratios here act as either a front run or a liquidity rate to the range extreme, right? The range extreme in this case is the 1. What did you do? You went and you hit the front run, right? So the front run was hit. The range extreme was not given. Everyone was waiting for that 73k retest. You didn't get the range extreme for now. You hit the front run of the range extreme and then you bounced up, right? So here's a live example of that happening. Because normally, obviously, this is only happening in replay. But here's a very recent live example. Front run of the liquidity rate, front run of the range extreme, sorry, got tagged, and then you went up higher. So again, Bitcoin, we're looking for the reclaim, otherwise you are pumping into resistance, right? So the diagonals for now are not with you in terms of the golden pocket. So let's see what happens. But all in all, again, it's a nice pump, right? You hit beautiful candle body closes, you closed above the levels you needed to. The fair value gap mids we were talking about, you closed above those. You tag down into your lower fair value gap mid as well, right? So now the question is, what else are we looking to do, right? If you look at this in terms of historical price range, you are above the historical price range, right? So if I was to turn off, I'll leave that on, you guys can see it here. So historical price range 5, right? So HPR 5. Right, so this is from that to that, your historical price range, your latest one. You kept bouncing off your mid. Right, so if I was to go ahead and just delete this for you guys real quick. You kept bouncing off your mid, right there, and then you broke down, turned the historical price range mid into resistance, right? In this case, you've gone and absolutely front run that key inflection area. It's not a surprise. This is a very, very nice target. There's going to be a lot of orders here. A front run is not a surprise, right? When you've got nice targets like this, it's very rare that the market gives you that perfect entry. So in the future, of course, right, anyone that is long here, that doesn't account for the fact your proper key inflection area is lower, could very easily get stopped out if we do not go and claim this into support, like I was saying, right? Which is why we have to be wary of this zone still. Otherwise, if they leave it like this, what you've got is some, a higher time frame fair value gap, and then you probably go hit your targets, and then this would be like a nice target to come down to on the dump, right? After you put that next high in, maybe you confirm weekly, maybe you confirm monthly bearish divergence when the new high comes in, right? And then after that is when you'd actually maybe get that bigger dump down. But for now, it's a front run, right? We haven't hit that yet. but like I said, if by the time March ends and we're still not above these levels, you're still below, I think there's a high chance we actually go and hit these targets here, right? Of course, we have a whole month basically till that comes to pass. A lot can happen in a month's time. We can see a lot can happen within a few hours, right? So you can imagine a lot can happen in a month. So let's see what happens. But we've got an intersection target. We've got a proper target in terms of key inflection area. But as long as you're above your historical price range mid now, right? Let's say we were to come back. If you keep holding this as support, you have smiley face. That's another reason to go higher. As long as you're above this mid, there is no reason to be looking at 73k. None. Okay. If you go and lose 89k, then I think 73k becomes much more likely. But we know simply historical price range mid is your next target, right? If you get below historical price range mid, that is when the likelihood of hitting the key inflection area goes up way higher. If you're above this, then there is no guarantee you're going to go down and hit this. That is your main support. You're going to be looking for higher prices, your key inflection area higher, right? So that is Bitcoin. I know I talked about it for a bit long period of time, but what I actually said is we're literally just looking at this aspect here, right? We have a very, very logical way to view this from where we currently are. Let's see, what did we hit anything else? Did we hit some ABCDs, anything like this in this dump? I'm very curious to know. For example, 0.5, 2.0 would have been here. Yeah, so we did hit a 2.0. We hit the ABCD here. Now you did extend a bit deeper than the 2.0, of course, right? We can see that very clearly. There we go. So harmonics wise, 4-point wave structure. The PRZ at the end of the day, however, on the daily even, was respected. That's the important thing, right? So the ABCD, you blasted off the ABCD. Any other ABCDs in here? Let's take a look. Actually, let's leave that on for now. Let's put this on from this top to no. That's the one we just looked at. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so that was the ABCD there. Yeah, nothing much else to say here really for Bitcoin. You know, we're at resistance now until we flip this. There's no point looking for longs or anything like that here. Hopefully you guys aren't trying to long here. I know none of you in the server would. You guys all know better by now. But I'm sure many people would be FOMOing in here. Just be careful in doing so, right? This is a heavy resistance right now. Don't get it twisted. It's very, very heavy resistance. Even though this candle itself is very, very strong, we now need confirmation of this. If you're looking at just horizontals, great, right? You know, you're above your 2024 12-month seller zone low. But the problem now is the diagonals have left that. Right, so we can very easily grab liquidity from up here and then go back down, right? That is the beauty of including diagonals along with the horizontal levels. So this is the thing to keep watch for on BTC. Yeah, I'm recording this, bro. Don't worry. I'm gain weight instead of lose at this point. I moved my entire setup to my room. I'll send you guys a picture in a bit, but I destroyed my bed. In my opinion, it's going to be no sleep season at some point this year, right? I destroyed my bed. I bought one of those Japanese futons that you lay on the floor. I've got my whole squat rack, my power cage, my dip bars, my pull-up station. Everything is in my room. My whole, the Olympic weights, right? My 20-kilogram Olympic barbell. And at night time, I just lay my futon in between the power cage, go to sleep. Bro, on God, I'm not even kidding. I'll send you a picture in a bit. But hang on, let me take a picture right now. One sec. Yeah, bro, it's lock-in season. Right, let me send that in chat. Way more spacious as well. The room's gonna look a bit small in the video because of the camera, but lots of space. There you go. Yeah, bro, the whole power cage, the whole setup is there, man. Lock in. I yeah, it was a steep initial investment though. Like the entire setup and stuff altogether is about like 1.5k. Yeah, bro, I got it from Bossman's like 5 years ago. I need to really change the carpet, but I'm gonna renovate my whole we're gonna renovate the whole place up, like do some loft installations and add like new stairways and stuff like this. So we're just gonna rip everything up when we do that. Yeah, yeah, basically, bro. That's just everything in my room. I can now look at the 3 minute chart while I'm like holding a front lever or something. Yeah, come on. Training session, bulk up, and bulk up the leverage account as well. From next week, brother. Corona times, yeah, bro. It's good. Plus, it's the gyms here like a bit for what you're getting. It's good, right? But I I prefer it just like in my own space. It's regimented. So my main PC that I'm talking to you guys from right now, it's not on that video, but it's basically to the left of where you see my laptop to the desk. Um, and then so the laptop I go to when I really need to focus. Like if I want to just focus and tune everything out, just move my chair on over to the white table, work on my laptop. If I want to game out with my friends, do streams like this on a bigger screen, just a more chill vibe, then I switch to my computer. And then otherwise it's just sleep at night time. And if I need to work out anything I do here when I want to do martial arts, skip something like that, just go to the back garden. My garden's huge. And then anything else, like when you want to actually socialize, that's when I go out. Because otherwise it's like when I used to go with my friends, it's like you take way longer than you would on your own, like when you're actually just locked in on your own. Yeah, Sam, bro. Yeah, man, send them my way. I'll accept new students again from next week onwards. 10k challenge. Yeah, yeah, brother, that's still on. I need to figure out how to get this copy trading started because apparently you need to apply for it. I thought I could just open an account, but once I get that done, and the question is, do I still do it in Bybit because of what happened with the Bybit hack? I think Bybit's fine, right? Personally, I'm still trading in Bybit now. Yeah, if it's calm on Bybit, but with Bybit, guys, just don't put a lot of money in it. Basically, let's just run like a challenge account. Yeah, I think Bybit is fine. Yeah, yeah. Plus, if they get hacked again, I'm sure they'll just come to liquidate everyone to get the fees back. So it's calm. Office in Dubai. Yeah, yeah. And I'll do that challenge account just for you guys. I'm thinking, do you guys want to do it like spot only, or do you guys want to do it like specifically for leverage? What would you guys prefer? Yeah, bro. I need to upgrade my PC too. I've got a 3090, so it's still fine, but Lev, yeah. Okay, we'll do Lev then. I'm finna set the take profit fee to 99% and just liquidate all of you and just leave the server. You're warned. Right. Okay, let's get back to this. We'll be starting, for those of you that don't know as well, I'll be starting to do the actual spot investments as well for John, Crypto Capital Enterprises, if you're familiar with him. I think the fund's pretty much live now. Going to be doing a stream with Neil in a server on Monday. So if you're in a server, then you can access the spot funds from there. Otherwise, yeah, I'll do the level one here. I'm not gonna offer the copy trading stuff anywhere else because that's just long. But I'll do it. The only other thing I want to be doing is outside of the server is for John for Crypto Capital Enterprises. Last night, bro. From Nepal to I spent a few days in Malta, and then for my birthday, and then yeah, landed last night. What it is. But yeah, okay. Let's take a look. Had some more. Alright, so that's BTC. But you can keep stabbing at scalps as long as you're above this level, right? So 3 minutes even now, or 3 to 5 for lower time frame. Of course, when you see something like this, you can keep taking stabs, right? Because your risk is virtually non-existent. Just manage your entry. Just literally risk to reward trade here, right? And you size up once these confirm to be supports over time, basically. Any trade you enter below diagonals, always scalps, because the diagonals can very easily send you down, even if you are above your key level on the horizontals. Something to watch for. Right, so let's take a quick scan through before we carry on with other coins. I just wanted to do BTC and Sol real quick, since those two were the most explosive. Of course, we can take a look actually real quick at ADA and XRP, right? So these are old positions of mine from September. I'm still in my XRP, I'm still in my ADA, all of those. But if we look at XRP first, I haven't looked at the chart in a while. I can guarantee it's going to be bouncing off a higher time frame buy seller zones. Like, on God, I'm not looking at the chart in so long. That's just how much I have faith in my system. So let's take a look. Let's go to the weekly. Oh, would you take a look at that? What is it? Okay, so buy seller zones on the left. So on the left it's all yearlies, right? I've not annotated these, but it's all yearly levels on the left. Even this drop you had, that is a yearly tap. That is a tap of the yearly level. Successful, even on the daily, successful retest, right? So of course, confirmation, stop loss below if you wanted the easy trade. That's how you take it. I've not added anything here on XRP, right? Ever since I've been a bit lazy adding to this, to be honest. I should have probably added it here. I didn't have any alerts, I didn't have any limits, so it's what it is. I missed this move, right? So if we get one more stab a bit lower, then I'll add it there. Like maybe we get something like this. If we confirm this inverted smiley, maybe we do this and then go higher, right? Use the news to actually pump up price, distribute the positions, go lower, make people think it's really over, and then go perhaps, right? If now we get that defulfill, I'll add then. The reason I don't want to add just here is because I'm adding when there's no raid of liquidity, right? There was one raid over here which I missed. I missed it, therefore if I missed the trade, I'm not going to add at a random place. I missed the actual entry. This isn't a raid, I'm not going to add, right? Now the raid would be off the range. This raided all these internals, that was a valid raid. This is not a raid, right? This is still intact. So now the next raid you're looking to is just basically take all of that out. So basically for me, take the entire range out. If that happens, I will size up on my 56-cent XRP average, right, at around $1.45 perhaps. If you don't get it, I'll just hold this until, you know, we go higher, and I'll just close this, what it is. But XRP was another one that was announced, which is why we got the insane pump we did, right? Delete this. Okay, delete this. Delete this. Okay. But yeah, same thing for XRP. You've gone back to a, I believe, weekly seller zone. What used to be a weekly seller zone. You've SFP'd the top of that for now. So by the time the weekly closes, if you close above the mid, of course, that's a good sign. High likelihood you actually bounce up higher. In fact, I think we have a liquidity triangle we can put down. Actually, no, we don't even need to do that. We can just do this. There. Yeah, perfect. Supply line, resistance, right? You're at big resistance. If you wanted to hedge a short, in fact, in terms of risk to reward, your short's probably going to be off better, because if you get above this mid, you're just going to close it, is what you're saying. You're going to be better off looking for shorts here rather than longs on XRP. Okay. And that's not like, you know, fundamental analysis or anything. That's simply TA, right? Risk to reward wise, now it's much cleaner. You add resistance until you get above it. There's no point looking for longs where we currently are again. So then I'll be looking for lower prices. No, not looking for lower prices, sorry, but I'll be eyeing for potential trades to the downside rather than like trying to force a long here, is what I'm trying to say, right, on XRP. But XRP, like our September entry on this was absolutely cracked. You couldn't have asked for a better entry on this one. So I'm still in this position for XRP. There we go. Your setup, let's take a look. Oh bro, that's clean, that's tush. That chair looks comfy. Is that like a massage chair or something, bro? That looks like slam you in the back. Oh, you've got the MX. I forgot what it's called, but this the MX something like the vertical type of mouse with the thumb and wheel on the side. That's a really nice mouse for productivity. That's a clean setup, bro. Plus, yeah, your color coordination. I rate that. That's nice. Oh, is that water cooling? Yeah, that's clean. My chair's in tatters. I've had it for like so long. It's flaking off. It's like a snake shedding its skin. Okay. Okay, that's XRP. And the other one that was mentioned today by Mr. Trump, Mr. Donald Trump, is ADA. ADA USDT. Let's see. Did this do any buy seller zones? Do I even have buy seller zones? There, I haven't marked. One sec. This is an old chart. Okay, let's go ahead and do some of these buy seller zones again. This is a really old chart. Nice little come on, why does it do this? Create a group of drawings. Okay, and then just there. Okay, let's hide that first. Okay, that's an alert from time ago. We'll leave that on for now. Be cool if you can make alerts invisible, but it's what it is. Okay, let's look at buy seller zones on ADA, right? And is this the oldest chart for ADA? Is that why I've got it on? Must be. Must be, right? Am I tripping? One sec. This and ADA USDT. This starts from 0.01. This starts from 0.01. Is it the same? This is 2017. Yeah, I mean, I might as well in that case just use the gate chart, right? Let's do this. Let's add a few more just to make sure that I did add the oldest chart. Because that makes me think that I should use the crypto chart instead. Okay. That's 2019, younger. 2019, younger. 2018, younger. So 2017. So basically, see the gate or this. I might as well just use the gate chart then. Surely. Hang on, I know how to do this to make this easier. Delete you, delete you, delete you. 50% up on the day. Absolutely crazy. Sora's up 400%. Dear, my trading view is lagging out. ADA should be here somewhere. Keep going, keep going. There we go. Okay, let's take a look. From here to here is 17,510, and from here to here, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna use this. Sorry, I know that was a bit long-winded, but I get very autistic when it comes to things like this. Right, 12 months. Let's take a look. What did we have over here, right? So let's begin with the latest, right? So 2024 we know is the latest piece of data that we have. In terms of the 2024 buyer zone, what do we have? Here's your macro read. Right, so what did ADA do? ADA went down, it hit the macro read, right? That was the liquidity sweep back in February, of 3rd of February, and then now you put a higher low in basically, front ran that key level, and then you spiked up higher, right? So in terms of 12-month levels, we already have a idea of why did ADA react off the area that it did. This was the 12-month 2024 macro read of the buyer zone. So let me just go and put that down. 2024 12-month macro read, buyer zone low, buyer zone mid, buyer zone high, and then of course our seller zone is right over here. So let's go ahead and turn off this 0 so it doesn't overlap. And then so we have our seller. I'm gonna delete this for now. Or it'd be nice if I could hide it, but I can't seem to hide it. Control Z. There we go. So this is going to be your 2024 12-month seller zone mid, and then 2024 12-month seller zone high. There. So even if you wanted just some lines, right, not even all of the key levels, just some, but still very important key levels on ADA, there is. The reason we're rejecting here, we shot a bit past the 2024 12-month seller zone mid, we rejected, right? So you took out range highs. No, you didn't, but you were close to taking out range highs. You've gone to range highs, you've rejected. We can see a pullback here wouldn't be devastating at all. Now, if you can go and base this back as support on ADA, around 84 cents, then what you have here is a smiley face, right? And a particular version of the smiley face, you guys are all familiar with this one. This is the head and shoulders, right? So if this does happen on ADA, you have a head and shoulders, and of course, even just in terms of the head and shoulders, from here to the neckline, you take that out, put it towards the mid, let's say, that takes you towards $1.80 on ADA, right? Takes you a bit higher. Now, if I turn group 1 on, this is also going to be a very deep extension of this. So we know the first target on ADA, of course, is our macro 886. Right, so if I was to delete this and this, let's put these brushes in check. So delete that. I'll just create a group of drawings and hide it. There we go. And then lock that in place as well. There we go. So we know that as long as this smiley face is respected, you're back off of the B point of the harmonic as well, right? So then you're going to be triggering a BAM action as well, back to the upside, if you go and flip this back into support, which is why I really hope we do get that pullback, reconfirm this zone as support before going higher. But ultimately, $1.47 to that final target we were just talking about with the smiley faces up towards $1.80 basically, right? We've got a reason to go between $1.50 basically to $1.80. Right, so a 30-cent target somewhere on ADA. That bearish harmonic is going to get hit. On this drop, what else did we have? We had, look, a 618 on the retracement right there, right? And yes, this went a bit higher, but the question is, was the 618 itself respected? Yes, it was. You didn't break above, you didn't flip into support, right? The 618 is what you kept rejecting off. So the 618 is the harmonic ratio I'm going to be putting down. And we know if you're getting a 618 retracement, you're looking for a 1.618 extension. Right, so then again on this drop, zoom in a tiny bit. There we go. We know that on this drop, we have hit again a 4-point wave structure, came back down, basically confirmed this zone, right? But around where the 1.618 was back as support. That is what sent you higher, right? What did you do? Here is your weekly buyer zone, right? Look what the drop did. You tagged your weekly buyer zone mid. So you put that weekly buyer zone down between your yearly level and your weekly level, you have a target, right? As long as this zone holds, you're going to be going higher. Because in context now, you have your higher time frame target that was already hit, that was already rated, right? And what that did was that then gave you your price action that sent you higher, which then enabled you to get your weekly buyer zone down, right? And once that weekly buyer zone comes down, you now know that as long as at least up to the mid of this area is respected, this zone is being held as support. And if a buyer zone, an area where buyers are taking action, right? An area where buyers have already demonstrated their willingness to stay in control. If buyers are staying in charge of a set area, then of course that's a trigger to aim for further upside, right? So you came down, hit the weekly buyer zone mid, you reconfirmed the around the 1.618 area of the 4-point wave structure, the yearly level as supports. Beautiful close, right there, even though it was a high volume sell candle. If we take a look at what kind of trading activity was going on over here, is it going to show up or not? This is gate, but yeah, still showing up. Look, aggressive selling going straight into such a key support, right? Huge amount of aggressive selling, huge amount of aggressive selling orders opened up in terms of volume, but yet look at the candle. How did it close? Were the sellers rewarded? No, right? I.e. the sellers got absorbed. If you have confirmation, the sellers got absorbed, which was paired again with, if we take a look from this low down to here, lower low in price, higher low in RSI. That is daily bullish divergence, right? Now, daily bullish divergence, I don't take it seriously as weekly and above, but for intraday trades like this, for confirmation when everything else is stacking up as well, it's beautiful to see, right? So ADA, another one that that's doing really well, right? So again, ADA is another one I've not sized up on since our September entries, just because I've not set any limits for these, right? And if I've not been setting limits, I've not been as active recently, because I've been out and about. So I still need to size up on this, right? If I see a good opportunity, this was a beautiful opportunity. It's my fault, I missed it, right? I wasn't paying attention to this one, didn't have any alerts or anything like this, so it's what it is. But that would have been the size up trigger here when you see something like that. But I'm still in with my original, just like the XRP original entry from September. I'm still with my ADA average entry as well. So let's take a look. That's ADA, right? So XRP, ADA, and Solana. We looked at the three that was talked about. Of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum are already they're going to be in reserves. They said amongst others. So I'm curious what else they'll be there. I feel like coins like Litecoin and stuff will be there as well. Hopefully AVAX gets one. You guys know I've got a big bag of AVAX. I still believe in this. Like AVAX, look, it's still at the lows, right? All this dumping, all this sell pressure from Bitcoin, Solana losing so much of its value, Ethereum dropping hard, and yet AVAX, in terms of macro structure, look, it didn't do anything. Still at the 886. Buyers are still propping this up, right? Again, you go and confirm this back into support, you get a breakout and something like this, right? That's going to be a low risk, high reward entry, right? And then you're running this back up, honestly. But I know in days like this, all of a sudden the FOMO kicks in, especially if you feel like, oh, damn it, I knew I should have pulled the trigger and it didn't pull the trigger. I know what it's like, okay? I've been in the same position in the past. Do not now go chasing longs here. Okay, you guys know this, but just a warning, just in case you're feeling like you want to do so. Don't go chasing longs here. Just understand everything's up like 50% on the day if you're looking at ADA, right? 25, 50, 30%. Bitcoin itself, Solana's up 20%. There is no risk management anymore, okay? Doesn't matter what the news is. At the end of the day, this is why I always just preach charts over everything else, risk management above anything else, right? If you just simply looked at everything in terms of the perspective of charts and risk management, Solana gave a beautiful entry, like we talked about at the start of the stream, right? Beautiful smiley face off that yearly level. ADA, XRP, all of these gave beautiful entries, right? Even if you look at other coins, like for example, Injective, do we have the buyer seller zones? Okay, no, this one actually went below the yearly. Not much to talk about for this one. But I'm sure if we go to the weekly and do this, there's still a key level here around which entry would have been given, right? So that weekly buyer zone there, you know, that was being held over many days. Injective, not as strong as the other ones, but the point I'm trying to make is no matter what coin you're looking at, look at Say. Another one I really wanted to bring is onto your guys' radar. Look at this weekly on Say, right? What do you guys see on this? Let me ask you guys the question. What do you see on this that would make me, or that would make it so that you guys could have a very, very easy, not even just a scalp, a swing setup per se, right? What do you see? Well, first and foremost, in terms of wave structure, what you guys can see, alright, just scroll down in chat. Ondo, I'll take a look at Ondo in a minute for you, brother. Let's take a look. 886 just about got front run, right? That 886 there is meant to be a macro shark. This one right here. I'm flashing it on and off so you guys can see it. XAB, there's your 439. C, there's your 1.25. There's your, for a shark, we're basically looking for the rate of A, right? The whole premise of a shark is you've gone and you've liquidity hunted the original A pivot point, and then you've actually had your move down, right? I really like sharks for that reason, because you're actually incorporating a liquidity rate into the actual wave structure, right? But so we have our XABC, and then of course our D point was all the way down in 1752. We haven't hit the D point yet exactly. Do we go and tag it once before going higher? Who knows, right? But I'm not going to be fussed about an exact 886. For all I care about, that is a shark, right? You've hit the macro shark. The original harmonic we also looked at is this, right? There was another shark, XABCD, right there, 886, right? So we had that shark there as well. So if I turn this off now, this is the shark I'm talking about, XABCD. I'm sure there was a bat there as well, right? Because that's an 886. So two ways to look at this. First things first, if you're looking at it simply in terms of this wave structure, what did we do? We went and hit the 0.5, right? We know a bullish shark leads to something called a bearish 5-0, right? And if you guys aren't familiar with what I'm talking about now, like, you know, we will, all of you in the server, at some point, we will go over the harmonic session, right? Where we'll discuss everything, all the different structures from Scott Carney himself. A bullish shark can lead to a bearish 5-0. So the warning was given here that don't be overly bullish here. Look, on the weekly, 1.2.3. Aggressive buying. But again, do you see those aggressive buying? Rather, do you see those aggressive buyers be rewarded, right? What do you have over here? That's a buyer and a seller zone right next to each other. You pumped straight into a buyer and a seller zone, right? And these structures don't come often, right? It's like they don't pop up all over the place, the buyer and the seller zone. So you have a buyer and a seller zone next to each other on a downtrend, right? So that's going to be resistance for us. You go straight pump into that weekly buy seller zone, right? Aggressive buying across 3 weeks, and yet you can't even close above the mid. SFP, SFP, SFP. Aggressive buys were not rewarded. You've hit a bearish 5-0, right? So wave structure wise, you've hit a point of where you would want to consider shorting or taking profits on your longs, and, you know, entering a short position looking for moves to the downside, right? In terms of wave structure. Now in terms of order flow as well, aggressive buys are not being rewarded, they're being absorbed, right? And then you get your move down, right? So again, we're not going to take this as a sign of bearishness, because we know in terms of a wave structure, in terms of the harmonic framework, this is your type 1 reaction now, right? So what is this? This is your type 2 return. The type 2 return went back, and in this case pretty much gave you a double bottom, right? You slightly raided the low of your original harmonic structure. Look, there's your SFP closed above, right? Initial entry could have been there, literally, right? Then what you're doing now is, look, your original area here where there was very clear support, where there was where your previous smiley face came in, that catapulted you upwards, right? Where your order block, your weekly order block was in history. So if I was to take this and do this, there's your weekly order block. It's all at this area now, right? This area right over here between the 0 and the 1. You are now going to that area and trying to reclaim that area as support. Okay, please do not fade what is happening right now on Say, even though it seems very, very nuanced, right? It's like you might not even look at this and consider it relevant price action. Just understand what we're doing on Say right now is extremely, extremely bullish. Okay, you've hit your type 2 reaction, you're trying to reclaim, right? So we have 5 hours into the reclaim. If you get above this, you're literally reclaiming your previous, in terms of previous order block, right? A bullish order block from the past, you're reclaiming that. The area where your accumulation came in for Say, you're reclaiming that, right? From here on out, look what happened last time. What happens anytime you're above this? Well, minimum 74% up. After that, you pretty much go to external targets, right? And in this case, for Say, we also know now we have the luxury of having an additional harmonic pattern. We know we have the luxury of this ABCD target that still hasn't been hit, right? In fact, I can go here And that 86 for me, I'm still going to keep it intact, even though we haven't actually do this. In fact, let's do this. One sec. That is that under group somewhere. Must be under group 1. Yeah. If I turn that off, do we have a macro ABCD we can put on here instead? ABCD pattern. Let's just go from here up to B. You donkey. 1 second. Here. So there's your 872. There, 88. That is literally pretty much an 886, right? That is, look, for an 886, we're looking at a 1.13 extension minimum. So we have one of the reason for that ABCD 1.13 target. No, from completely two different pivot points, right? This one, that's the XABCD pattern, and this is another thing to watch for as well, is the fact that actually that's not in play. Hang on. This right here. If you consider this a raid, then for me this wave structure is still in play as well, right? Even if you take it from a different point, we now have a different wave structure taking us back towards that $1.27 target on say. On a weekly basis, right? Look, that is a basically a 400% increase in price. Now, is there any guarantee say it's going to go and hit that? No, there isn't, right? But we don't enter a trade because we think there's guarantees for it to go and hit that final target. The key point here, and hopefully the takeaway you get from me explaining all that, is the area what we're doing, the price action we're currently putting in, is giving us the benefits of the doubt that, okay, this might not be the bottom, it might get more stabs down, but if you're not going to take a risk here, especially after the weekly close, if it closes like this, then where are you going to take the risk? Right, so hopefully you guys can see what I mean about say. Does that make sense, guys? What I'm trying to say about say. Yeah, nice. Okay, so 86 on say, right? So in this case, I don't see a way to make a macro bat here, right? Otherwise, a macro, there might have been a macro bat, unless I'm missing something. I don't actually see the macro bat here. I only see a shark. But yeah, so you have the old wave structure, you have a new wave structure, macro shark, everything, right? So on say, let's say the weekly was to close like this, multiple ways you can take this. You can enter spot with the idea of, okay, I'm going to DCA if we get that mid once more or something like this, right? Stops below the C. Or you can enter this, and if the weekly closes like this, you can simply be like, you know what, I'm just going to play really close to the chest. If the weekly low gets taken out, I'm just going to exit. Multiple ways you can do this, right? How you take this trade is up to you. There is no right or wrong answer. If you take the wider one, you're not going to go all in. Your DCAs are going to be a bit wider, right? So if you, let's say you were to take a play like this, you're going to use the 20-40-40, and your initial isn't going to be that big, maybe 25-30% max, right? Because you're working with a 30% drawdown, you're going to give yourself more room to breathe, more liquidity in case you get a slight pullback, and reduce your initial risk by making the initial size a bit smaller. If you decide to go with the tighter stops, then you can do 40% straight off the bat, right? Or 50% even, and then split the remaining 25-25 for a trend shift, and in terms of DCA, so on and so forth, right? So the ratios, play around with it depending on how wide you give your stops. I'm not going to give you a stop because this is now completely up to you. It's up to your risk management and how much you're willing to risk, right? That is not for me to dictate, right? I've given you guys what you're looking for. You guys know the system, you guys know the levels, you guys know what all of this is. If you don't and you need some extra help, of course, reach out to me, ping me in the server. I'm here for you guys anytime. But your stop loss is up to you, your risk management. But you guys know how to place the stops. That's the important thing. Either you do it below, firstly, your weekly close low for the tightest option, right? I personally wouldn't put it below these lows. That doesn't really make sense because you're just putting it below, just slightly above a 20-24 12-month buy zone. So if you want to play it tight, I'd put it just below your weekly low. Right, so this retest wick, if the retest wick is successful, I'll just put it below the retest wick if you want to keep it tight. And if you want to give yourself a bit more room to breathe, and for spots, I honestly recommend just give yourself more room to breathe, especially down these levels. No point getting chopped up. I'll just go and put it below that C point there, right? If you get below this, there is no point holding, right? Because your argument becomes weaker, especially below this box. The whole reason this reclaim is important is because what this box is representing, right? So, just bear that in mind. But for say, you're getting an amazing opportunity here, in my opinion, right? And I'm sure there's an actual wave structure here too. One sec. Am I missing something? There should be, no? 1 second. Not that one. Not that one. Hang on. I'm just trying to see whether there is a harmonic that lines up over here. There might be. If you go from D, one sec, I have to do this on the daily. And same thing here. Look, what happened last time? The smiley face came in aggressive selling. Right now we have a host of aggressive selling going on at the range lows again. So for me, it's, you know, it makes sense to sell when we're talking about it up here. It doesn't make sense to capitulate at the literal range lows of the chart. But that's a 382. Nope, that's not a 382. In fact, I think this might be the best bet here. Oh, I know, I've done it with the ABCD, haven't I? Let's do this. This low, this high, this low, high, and of course the 886 is up over here. So you're attempting, you know, if you go and reclaim this level as well. So basically above 26 cents, you're also above the 2.618 and the 886 of a bat. So you'd be reclaiming the bat basically, right? So then this bat for a more lower time frame trade, right, would also come in play. So then you can open your spot bag with that more higher time frame perspective in mind and just sell when the actual macro looks devastating, like it was over here, right? And for leverage, you just enter and, you know, you've got another harmonic framework you can trade alongside with, and then you can then do level by level alongside your spot bag as you start to trade higher, right? But you do have, on this type 2, you have another completed harmonic. Okay, so the stars are lining up for say basically, right? That's the point I'm trying to make over here. The stars are definitely lining up for say. That's a nice trade, brother, on say. Very nice. 22-cent entry. Beautiful. Yeah, if we hit 70s on BTC, if BTC does reject, then definitely, you know, it's like, and you think the profits are good, take some profits on your positions, right? That's if BTC rejects, because now if BTC does reject and we do get the 70s, alts are going to be absolutely smashed, right? They're going to be. So you probably get stopped out on say if BTC does go to this 70. So in case of sizing up, you probably have to open a new position. But for now, you know, I don't see any signs of weakness. Above this, you don't have to worry about closing your position down, right? You lose the grey box. Then that's when I'd be like, okay, maybe I should at least put my stop loss to break even. But yeah, that's say. So let's take a look. Anything else? So let's look at Ondo. Not bother us. Let's look at Ondo, and then we'll look at the totals real quick. And if you guys have any other coins you want me to look at, just let me know. Otherwise, I just wanted to do a quick one today to explain the pump and also to give you guys the warning not to FOMO in if you missed the 50% moves up already, right? Ondo. Here we go. We hit the box on Ondo. This is the box we were waiting for. What we haven't hit, of course, is now I was hoping for that 886. Doesn't mean we need to get it, of course, right? That's fine. These two 886s, they're not in play yet. Now, I think I saw you put down a Gartley, which I haven't even put down myself, so that's a very good find. Let me just do that. Is that a 618? Not yet. 618 would, oh wait, no, it would be a 618 if we did it from here though, wouldn't it? 64, yeah, that's much better. So 618 is right over here. 786. Yeah, that's a Gartley. It's not a perfect 786, but it's very, very close, right? It's very, very close to a perfect 786. I think that's what you've got down as well. Let's just take it from, there we go. So from here. It always goes to the 617 or the 619. I don't know why it doesn't just stop at the 618. There we go, 618, 767. So 786, a perfect 786 would be slightly lower, but obviously, like, you know, you've hit the PRZ, right? That's the important thing. You've hit the actual PRZ. So yeah, that's a valid Gartley, brother. Yeah, for sure. In fact, hang on, I haven't even put that down properly. Yeah, that's a valid Gartley. What you have done now is you've gone and pumped straight back into your 6-month seller zone, right? So I'm going to go ahead and delete this for now. Sometimes I put it down in a haste and I forget why I've got these marked down. It's at the weekly. your weekly macro, yeah, macro buy zone. That's what this was. Your weekly macro buy zone. So let's delete that. That's not the important candle for now. So we've got our 6-month levels and we've got our yearly levels on Ondo, right? So you've gone straight to your 6-month level. Again, another reason why you wouldn't long this here now until you saw at least something like this, right? Something like this. Flip this back into support, we can see, right? You've reclaimed what was one support as support again. Then you can look to take this back towards $1.63 to $1.74. But again, you know, if the daily and the weekly were to close like this, you have a very, very nice area to hedge a short. And I'd hedge this short. How high have you gone before? I'd hedge this short something like this perhaps, right? Stop somewhere above. Depends how wide you want it. 11%, no, I wouldn't. Something like this, right? You can hedge this short. Maybe you still get this, right? So if you did enter a short, this would be the kind of trade plan you'd be looking for. Somewhere within here at the PRZ, you'd be looking to catch this. If you close above, however, the short theory goes out the window, so you wouldn't do anything, right? Of course, now what you do have over here is a supply zone slash a order block, bearish, right? Which is why I'm putting my stop loss obviously above that, right? If you do enter a short here, you can either go through with DCAs if you're going to go this, or you can go all in. Depends all on you, right? Just manage your position size depending on which one you go for. But we could definitely have more pull downs before we go higher. Like I said, we still have till the March for Bitcoin to confirm either are we going to treat this diagonal as resistance or are we going to go higher, right? So chop is very possible. But you know, if you caught the actual move down on Ondo from here, then that was a very, very nice entry, brother. Trying to see, did my Ondo limit get filled? It should have got filled, right? So let's take a look. Yes, it did. Perfect. So I entered this around 89 cents. That was my average on that dump we had. So let me just receipts instead of just saying I did something. So that's the Ondo entry right there. Gonna take some profits here. Actually, I didn't TP at 120, so I'm just gonna wait for weekly close now, I reckon, before I TP that. But I actually no, you know what, I'm gonna take some profits here now on Ondo because that's aggressive buying going on. It's not being rewarded, and we have 51 minutes to this hour close, 4 hour 51 to the weekly close. I'm gonna take some profits here. If we flip this back into support, I'll just size up again, right? Boom, done. Okay, so, but yeah, that's Ondo. Ondo looks good. I do hope for the 886, but if we don't get it, we don't get it. It's what it is, right? Rats. Okay, let's look at rats, and then we'll look at the 3 totals and stuff, and I'll end it. Okay, let's look at rats next. Rats. Okay, so if we take a look at rats, why did I have this? Okay, there we go. A, B, C, D, right? It was a 2.24, slightly lower on rats, all the way down over here at around 917, right? I didn't see much here in terms of why do we need to bounce from here? I didn't see much, right? All we have is structure, but no reason for the structure to come in, so it's devious structure in my opinion. Now that we are going to reclaim some key levels, right, and this is all from this previous range over here, right? So now that we're going to reclaim some of those key levels, there's a stronger argument for rats. So now what you have is, of course, your last lower high that led to the lower low has been taken out, and for now, you know, that you retested successfully this area. So, you know, if you keep closing above here, then you can do a entry for rats. Now, rats is something that's gonna be very hard to give stop loss for, but something like this basically, right? If you're trying to catch the momentum, you're going to have a slightly wider stops, and then what our target is, for now, let's put it at that, right? But we're going to change that in a minute. This level right over here, original consolidation, if you take a look, right? In fact, I should have these marked out. Why is it not marked out? 1 second. Oh, that sucks. I thought I did mark this out. Okay, so here's your original consolidation 4 rats. If I go to the 1 hour, you see what I mean. I go all the way to the left. There we go. Original consolidation, right? For the range that we were in. And just to check, I shouldn't have. What's going on here? Oh, it says I've done this right from the start, but that's not true. I shouldn't have. Should have only gone to range. I think I did this for the daily range. One sec. Oh, no, I'm wrong. Okay, this here was the impulse up, right? So some of you have done this lesson, some of you haven't. If you haven't, don't worry, we're going to do it at some point. This is your macro impulse up. We're looking at the volume data for that, right? And for the macro impulse up, your standard deviation 1 is here, standard deviation 2 is between the green lines, right? We went to your standard deviation 1 area, you lost it, so then standard deviation 2 was also a logical choice, right? Which is basically down all the way at the lows. Which is why for me this was devious structure, like I kept saying. But of course you had loads of aggressive selling going on, not being rewarded, and bottom looked like it was coming in here. So if you did take a play off here, that ended up being a great entry. But now above this level, I'd be looking for moves back up towards at least the point of control of the impulse up. Right, that's a 3.78 hour trade, and if this is the low, you can also get from the high to the low of the impulse down, do the same, get the fixed range volume profile, and then see, okay, where's my point of control according to that? Right, where's my value area high? Where's my value area low? And then you can take trades based off that. Right, so I have impulse down from here to here, and then you have impulse down from here to here, and of course from the macro to the low as well. But in terms of, like, you know, where we are on the chart, yes, risk management, very, very easy. Very easy. At the end of the day, how are you gonna cut this? Like, ultimately, if you get below 2716, there's not much point holding this, right? And I just made this a bit wider to account for the deviation we've had around this in the past. That's it. But realistically, if you get below this zone, you're gonna cut this anyway, and just re-enter when you reclaim it, and then you'll be looking for those moves higher. I'd say to that weekly buy zone mid would be a nice target for a leverage trade. For spot, it's well, you can see what's for spot. You have a range here. If you can go and in the future flip this range into support, you have a supply zone there as well. If you can do something like this, then you have a real chance at pushing it super high towards 0.5 here. Above that, then you have this entire range, right? In terms of higher time frame key levels, you can see it's very, very easy for rats. We just have to get above this minefield here, because obviously I put lower time frame levels here as well to make it easier to base price action around. Otherwise you're just going to be floating in the middle of nowhere, so you won't have much of a reason to be in a trade or take profits, so on and so forth. But you have gone into a weekly bearish fair value gap. It's an expansion fair value gap, right? You've hit exactly the mid of the said fair value gap right over here, and now you're rejecting it. So right now at bearish liquidity pocket. So basically either get that, you know, from where we currently are, to be honest, seeing this now, I wouldn't actually enter here. I'd wait for this, because you're just below resistance now, right? I'd wait for this. When you get that, that's when I'd look for that play up. And even though it's a slightly higher entry, your stop loss is going to be way better, because you have a actual retest slash liquidity rate of actual key level, right? But if you did want to enter a spot like this for the higher time frame, then there's nothing wrong with doing that either, right? But in terms of a trade, this is a better entry if you get that flip there. Otherwise, I still think down here would be a way nicer place to enter in terms of wave structure for rats. Yeah, brother, it's recorded. But yeah, that's rats. Okay, let's quickly look at total. What did we get? Look at this on total. Finally got the retest of the 2.6 trillion 2021 Thomas Seller Zone mid, right? This was waiting to happen. So we mentioned, okay, gray box, right? You have that monthly gray box, you have the weekly gray box, and you have that yearly mid. As long as you're above the yearly mid, you're fine, right? When do you turn bearish? You turn bearish when distribution comes in. For now, distribution isn't coming in. Again, we still have some time before weekly close, but if weekly manages to close back above 3.01 trillion, you're back to where you started, right? Yes, you're at a big supply zone, but if buyers can keep defending this area now, there's a high chance we can push this higher on total one, right? So just if in doubt, just look at the monthly, since we just had a monthly close. You cannot call that a bearish monthly candle, right? You can't. That's not bearish. It might be bearish if you're looking at a 1 hour perspective of this range, but if you now zoom out, you've retested your previous range highs, support. You've retested your 2021 12-month seller zone mid, support. You've closed the candle where, look, on the monthly even, have you ever had a candle close above this level in terms of a retest, right? Yes, we've now started having candle body closes because of the expansion, but now sellers are attempting to push price back down, and yet we're still getting candle body closes above the area where we haven't. The highest candle body close we've had before this, in terms of like actual price action, that's, well, how do I describe this? This was expansion that took us to a new range, right? This is now us revisiting this range. But now, last time we were in this range, all underside, look, all underside, sweep, sweep, sweep. Is it the same? No, above. Before, this was a ceiling for you to break through. Now, this is a floor for you to hold. Big difference. That is a beautiful monthly close, right? And here's your monthly buy zone, sorry, in terms of this, right? So again, if you can now go and keep flipping above this as supports, I think you push higher, right? If you now do go, and of course we can now very clearly see that you can also do this, and this is to be wary of, right? Depending on how wide you want to take it. I'm just going to take that entire range and we'll smooth it out on the weekly. That is now a monthly supply zone for now. Impulse up, consolidate, impulse back down. That's a monthly supply zone, right? That's a textbook supply zone right there. If we do go here and we start putting, let's say, lower highs in at the 0.5 or something like this, right? Then just hedge some shorts. Because now what you'd be saying is, okay, you've taken the liquidity up top and you're actually putting a lower high in after you've had a severe sell-off, right? So then it makes sense to hedge whatever longs you're in here if you do get that move, or if you end up closing below 3.02 trillion by the time the week closes, right? If you do close below that on the daily, right, you SFP this and close below on the daily, you can see I don't need to tell you why that wouldn't be optimal, right? So let's hope we close above this on the daily. But on the higher time frame, like we're at the area where we just need buys to hold. That's it. We just need buys to hold, right? As long as buys hold this area, no damage has been, like, no, of course there was some damage done by this move down, right? But the chart is still making trend wise higher highs and higher lows. Are you still on the buy side for now? A lower high and a lower low hasn't been confirmed yet, right? As it hasn't been printed yet, hasn't been shown yet. So reasons why total 1 looks fine for now. Total 2, right, same thing. You once again went to the mid, right, off your you once again went to the mid of 698. How is that possible? Hang on, let's do this. Total 2 once again went to the mid of your range, right? Because again, like I said, you hadn't actually got above your 3-month seller zone last time we looked at this. So then we once again, what did we say? Look, range wise, right? You lose the key inflection area, that's what this is in this case. You go to the range mid. If you lose the range mid, you go to the range low. But if you don't lose the range mid, you go back to range highs. You just play like that, just keep it simple. You held the range mid, you're now back at range highs. Again, we want this. We want that 3-month seller zone to once again be support, right? For this to go higher. Otherwise, total 2 is once again at resistance, right? So entering ETH here again basically is not a good idea. It was a very good idea down there, and so do my ETH get filled? Yeah. So there's this ETH entry, all of the same levels, right? Send that through. Hopefully that goes through. Yeah, that's the ETH entry. 2121. We'll look at each chart in a minute. I don't think we looked at it today, but all because literally total 2 at mid. Like you see that, you just know it's not going to be it's going to be a good time if it holds to get some ETH, right? If this is holding and you're seeing candles like this, of course you're going to be in Ethereum over anything else. If you're looking at total 2, look, aggressive selling not being rewarded, right, at the mid. But now you're at resistance, so you're not going to enter ETH here. If anything, again, you're going to hedge a short until you flip this back over, in which case you get rid of your shorts, add to your longs, right? Total 3, again, pump straight back up to resistance. The monthly close was once again fantastic. Look at that monthly close, right? What was once resistance, firstly, previous resistance to support, but more than that, your weekly supply zone mitigated, and your weekly supply zone mitigated, and your weekly order block all filled and held as support, right? Again, monthly looks beautiful, right? So then just you'll be looking for moves higher on the higher time frame when you see something like this. And of course, we've got a couple of wave structures that take us to new price targets, to new all-time highs on total 3. Others, right? Again, others holding the range low, as we can see right there. 776, 786 hasn't been hit yet, but it's what it is. I'm not expecting exact perfect levels either. So basically 786, if you get a 786, you get a 1.272, right? There's your target up there. The range lows hold. We know we're going towards the mid next. Flip the mid, you go to the highs. Flip the highs, you go to your next target, right? Level by level. But again, total 3 also, sorry, others are also at support. Total DeFi, look, you're still holding your harmonic area, right? This hasn't even gone and disvalued this harmonic actually. So total DeFi is actually so strong, right? So which just makes me think, just look for like, fresh DeFi projects that look promising, honestly. That's why I'm such a big fan of Cetus, right? But total DeFi looks absolutely amazing still, right? M-shape, trend is being respected. Nothing's been damaged. Is what it is, right? Total DeFi, nothing else needs to be said. Another one to look at is others, right? Because look, even though we've had all this bearishness, look, we've had wicks below, but look at the closes. Has the close violated our trigger, which is look for higher time frame closes below the 886, 2.618, and then look for this and something like this to cut your rolls, right? We haven't had that. Look, still support, even in the face of all that sell-off, all the red is still support. Your initial M shape still in play, right? This is your type 2. Where the BAT 86 and 2.618 came, and even in this drop we just had, we completed. Hopefully you guys are familiar with the structure. 786, 1.2. It should be 272. We haven't hit exact 272, but it's close enough, right? This is a butterfly, right? So we have 3 now bullish harmonics that are all completed here. Price action they're trying to put in is like the buyers are defending. Of course, now this will look much better if we did this, right? If you go and flip this trend back into support, this will look infinitely better. But this is your actual, this is the initial push that gets the boulder rolling, right? And the rest is you're just looking to pick that momentum up and then absolutely keeps rolling it down that hill. But next step of affairs, go and flip that into support, because below this is going to look a bit ugly. Support, resistance at the end of the day. But above this level, all is fine, right? You get below and you start closing below and turning to resistance. That's when you be worried. That's when you cut your rolls, in my opinion. Total 3 against BTC as well, still holding that key area, the BAT 2.618, BAT 886, the AB equals CD, all still being held. Total 3 against BTC at very historic areas, as we can see here. Look, very, very key support resistance level, right? Again, this is areas, what this is saying us is Total 3 against Bitcoin is at an area where Total 3 is likely to start outperforming Bitcoin, right? So again, if the outperformance happens, then this is going to go up. You're looking at 0.55, you're looking at 0.73, 1.03. I've not even done buy seller zones on this. You definitely can. I'm just putting down horizontal support resistances, right? But again, many things here still, like, even though people were bearish and the CT was bearish, in terms of technicals, in terms of your, let's say, indicator charts, in terms of price action and your macro structure, I think a bit more damage needs to be done for us to be certainty saying yeah, the top is in. But like I said, my thesis hasn't changed in which I believe the top isn't in. I've never, I keep saying I don't think the top is in, right? Yes, we had so the scenario we were looking at when we were in BTC was either you get the break up first and then get the breakdown, or you get that breakdown first and then reclaim to go up, right? Now we're just waiting for that reclaim. We've got the breakdown, we're waiting for that reclaim of the diagonal to go up, and that move up, in my opinion, takes us to 120 to 140-ish, right? If we don't get that reclaim, and like we were looking at earlier in BTC, right, we just keep going sideways on the diagonals and we don't actually get above, then I think we get one more deeper down and then we go higher. but that's yet to happen. So let's see if buyers can give that oomph, right, that big push to actually keep us here, to keep us keep the momentum going on an uptrending market. So let's look at what else to look at. Let's look at PAL. Yes, still got my PAL as well, still holding this AI play. Cetus, we were so close to the 886. I did add at the box low, but I'm not fully in because obviously the 886 is where I really wanted to add this. But I hope we do get it. It seems greedy to not go all in here, but it's just I'm willing to size up a bit higher, to be honest, right? Because again, we have a weekly buy seller zone right over here, for example, a very beautiful one, right? At resistance, if we can reject this, we could probably get that sweep down to the 886. If we flip it, I'll just size up on Cetus, is what it is, right? ENA, another one to watch. So ENA, we had a M shape, right? The 886 is slightly lower, which we haven't hit, right? We pretty much front ran it at the box. Now, what we've done here for ENA. So, first of all, this this here, right? This is from your impulse up to your impulse down. This is your wave structure, not wave structure. This is your volume profile, right? They're here. High to low is just high to low. Then from this low to this high, your low to high volume profile and your different standard deviations are also here, right? That's this purple right over here, the second one. And low to high are measured accordingly. Now in green, this one here, right? This green, this green, this green, that's your macro fixed range volume profile, right? So I've gone one for the high to low, the low to high. There might be a high to low here as well if this is the bottom, which you're not sure of yet, and then the macro, right? The reason I had this area marked out is because this area is representing, right, especially if you go to the hourly to keep it super, super tight, this zone is representing the area. Just let it load. Okay, it's not loading, never mind. Let's just do it on the daily. Is representing the area between a point of control from that move down to the move up, right, slash your 886 of the bad. That's a PRZ. That's a really nice PRZ. And this here is accounting for this point of control to this point of control here, right? So this box was my target for ENA. We front ran the top, right? But I opened a position as soon as I saw that front run anyway. And because especially since what we're doing here is we have, if you take a look, put in a sneaky smiley face at the macro point of control. At the end of the day, the macro, the entire range for ENA, the point of control, the most traded volume is here. We're above it. We put a smiley face above it. I'm not going to fade that and be greedy and wait for the perfect 86 when, the price action we want to see coming in is coming in here, right? So again, we are now at resistance. We do have ABCD 2.0, things like this. So if we can do this, right? So here's a trend line, breakout, like retest this at some point in the future. That'll be a safe entry. If not, and you reject her again and you break down from here, just look to either re-enter back at the point of control if it holds, otherwise we actually enter at the 886 this time around in my opinion. But either way, ENA is also at an area where if you zoom out and look at the higher time frame potential of this chart, it's going to be very hard for you to be bearish in my opinion. If you look at this chart and you still stay bearish, you're going to wait for another 50% drop. Sure, you could get it, but does that make you a good trader? Is the question, right? Does that make it not even a good trader? Does that make your strategy worthwhile, right? If price action says so, then yes. Otherwise, if you're simply doing it to be bearish, then no, right? So definitely watch this area for ENA, or otherwise watch for this flip. We might not get this, we might get the flip first. If the flip comes, lower time frame to higher time frame mindset trades, if this flip comes, you probably get this up to here before you get lower. So you'll be able to play this range probably, right, on ENA. So for Ethereum, I've got ENA as layer 2, of course LDO and stuff like that there as well. And last but not least, I want to look at Fartcoin. I just have a nice bag of this. Here we go. So these were the things I gave for Fartcoin, right? You have the macro BAT 886, you have the alternate BAT 1.13. Here's your alternate BAT, there's your macro BAT, and then you have all these ABCDs. You've hit the deeper one, you hit the ABCD 3.618, now you're trying to get up of the entire thing, right? Which is why I'm not fully in Fartcoin, because of course we had all of these left as well. I'm in about 50%. So now the remaining 50% I'm going to size up. If, of course, you get the breakout trend shift, then I'll size up. Otherwise, I'll just hold on to what I have, put my risk at free, right? Make my trade risk free. and just hold it. But Fartcoin, entry, I'm just gonna put into the chat again. We need receipts. We can't just talk about levels and not execute. If I don't execute, I'm not a good trader. No matter how many lines I draw, I need to be able to execute, and that is my Fartcoin entry right there. There you go. Yeah, brother, especially from next week, I definitely will be. 2574. What's your entry? Oh, but you beat me by a tick. Basically, that's a great entry, brother. Yeah, for Fartcoin. Yeah, I'm gonna take some profits if I see now, like, you know, failure. If I see loads of aggressive buying coming on but no reward, people gassing out, I'll take some profits. But for the trade, but for spot, especially, and for high time frame swings, you know, as long as you're above this, you just hold here, because you know the high time frame potential for this chart again is, if this base is up, even if you don't make new highs, or even if you don't make new highs, you just go from where we were, let's say 2.5 simply to 2024 mid even, that's still like a 337% increase in price. And on leverage, you know, if you manage to bottom wick that entry with a decent position size, that's more than enough to have like a really nice trade, right? So yeah, Fartcoin's another one. But the sell pressure is dying down here for now. We could definitely go lower. I'm not saying we can't. We still have, you know, ABCD targets lower. If we do go here, of course, the deeper we go, I'll just add more. That's it, right? I'll probably get stopped at break even. If we do go lower here, I'll put my stop loss to break even, and I'll either basically add at a reclaim of these levels again if we do go lower, or add at when these levels actually get hit. That's it. But yeah, that's Fartcoin. Anything else to look at? Yeah, sure, bro. I'll reach out. I'll start from next week, I reckon, with one-on-ones again. But I'll reach out to everyone again. So let's quickly look at focus. Go back to the top. Vanry, what are you doing? Not much, but holding value area low at the end of the day. So again, for Vanry, if you wanted a low risk trade, something like that. Of course, this entry here was much cleaner, but this is still you know, it's like it stops literally about 21% away, right? So even a risk to reward of 3, something like that, you could do for Vanry. But I've not actually got a leverage position open on Vanry right now. I don't see the point. But if you wanted to open, I have Vanry here, just do spot. It doesn't make sense to go leverage because you're so low. There's no point going leverage, right? Unless you literally scrape and buy for funds, in which case, of course, use leverage tactically. But otherwise, you know, at the position we're currently in, it doesn't make sense to actually leverage Ondo here. If you want to swing it low leverage, right, that's, of course, that's up to you. But spot's going to take you a long way where this chart currently is. Like when you have a chart like this, you could spend a while down here before it actually picks up, right? So the problem with leverage is, even though execution could be correct, you can get absolutely screwed by the funding fees before we actually get any sort of move. That's something to watch for. Doge is another one to watch. You've got a full fill of the box here now, right? So I don't know about this 886. It seems a bit deep, but I'll keep an eye on it for now. If you can get above this high, that's when I'd re-enter. I didn't enter Doge once I got stopped at break even. This is one I didn't manage to catch, but I don't mind, because as long as I can do this, you know, something like this happens, I can easily enter a trade here, right? Doesn't matter whether I enter here or here, but I'm trying to capture this move up to potentially even new highs. Not new highs, but like above these highs here, right? So that's Doge. We've not looked at SWI. Let's look at SWI. SWI looks very similar to Ondo, right? Your weekly still holding, very strong. Nothing much. I've got a SWI position. Aptos, another one to watch. Here, look. What Aptos is doing so clean. Your 886s are still being respected. Looks not been violated. And now you're actually trying to close above this level here. Look, if you could close above here on the daily, your next retest that you get of this area, that's where I'm going to be sizing up on my Aptos trade. Right, so my Aptos trade is this one. Again, same entry from the liquidation day, right? When we got that big liquidation wick, it's literally that entry still. That's the benefit of entering when no one else wants to enter, right? Buy when everyone else is fearful. This entry just hasn't been tagged out at all. right? This one here for Aptos. So I'm going to size up on this once that flips into support, because you can see above this, we're looking for Aptos to run towards here basically, right? $8.72. So me sizing up here makes sense, because then I can catch a more of a gain on 34% on leverage move, which is more than worth it, right? So I'm going to size up right over there if you get the flip. But yeah, that's Aptos. AVAX we've looked at. Ethereum, ETH against BTC, let's take a look at that. Still holding your PRZ, still holding your very key. So much aggressive selling, ridiculous. What I'm going to say is, last time you had such a huge series of aggressive sells, where was it? Right down over here. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Right down over here. But yeah, you've had aggressive selling on the way up, right? But that's after huge moves up already happened. No huge move up has happened here, right? None yet. Huge aggressive selling. So just bear in mind, all these aggressive sellers at some point will need to be taken out, in my opinion. But yeah, ETH key inflection area once again held, right? So again, that's a 61.8% retracement. That's a 786. We'd be looking at a 1.272 on ETH if this were to play out. Okay, if this key inflection area is to hold and we do not break and go lower, we have, again, 786, you're always thinking butterfly, 1.272 towards 5,000. And of course we have our ABCDs as well. Right, so where's the ABCDs? Is it group 5? No. No. Group 4? No. 2023, 2024 levels holding. Where's the ABCDs gone? Group 1. Nope. Okay, let's do this bit by bit. Group 2. There we go. With all of these ABCDs, right? 786, 1.272, not hit yet. That 1.272 for that macro ABCD lines up very nicely with this 1.272 here. Look. Right, so around 6k ETH, and then this is a 2.618 of this 618. So in this case, I'm just pointing out a 2.618 extension. As far as I'm aware, 2.618 isn't actually a valid expansion for the 0.618. Normally, I'll just do the 0.618 primary retracement to the 1.618 primary projection. But 2.618 is still a primary projection. It's your projection after the 1.618, right? So I'm just going to leave that on there as a deep extension level. So yeah, as long as this hold on ETH, look, what do we keep saying? If key inflection area holds, you're not looking for lower. You're not worried about this range, because we're saying the range boundary buyers are stepping in, meaning we're still in this range. And if the range low is successful, you auction back to range highs, right? It's just the way things work over time. So again, as long as this, if you start closing below the mid of this, that's when you should be worried, and that's when you wouldn't be surprised if it did get 1,500 ETH again, right? You wouldn't be. I'd be the first person to say, okay, we could probably get 1,500 ETH, 1,070 ETH, right? 741. If we go and turn this to resistance, we haven't done that yet. Anytime you get here, there's just way too much demand, right? So I'm hoping we do go up, but let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens. If we do go and, however, this time around we go and get like a weekly lower high here at the historical price range 3, may definitely take a hedge. Okay, if you haven't hedged here, definitely take a hedge over here. But yeah, that's Ethereum. So I see people are joining in. I'm just about to end the stream though, guys. So, but you catch the recording. If you missed the stream, it'll be on the recording section. Hype. Oh yeah, let's look at Hype. Forgot about that. I'll look at this one last, and then we can call it for the day. Hype is here. Oh yeah, I was so pissed about this one, because this level that I was waiting for so long just got front ran. Look, I had a fat limit at 1549, and I know it was a risky limit because of the fact that the level hasn't actually been hit yet, right? But I basically had a shit ton of alerts up, so I would have known when the limit was going to be triggering. You got front run is what it is. Alright, but between 1549 and 1328, this zone had a lot of limits. But that's why I wish it had gone a bit deeper, because that would have been a perfect 618 as well, right? And in which case we had a valid 1.618 expansion. Now it's like you haven't actually got a 618, so it's like a 591. It's still a 1.618 because it's very close to a 618, but you could have one more drop for sure, right? That's what I'm trying to say. So for now, I'm just going to leave it like this. But Hype this is what I kept saying, right? Only be bigger on hype if you see higher time frame flip of this 12-month seller zone into support. Look, you kept breaking above, but on the weekly, you didn't get a single successful retest. Any single time you went above, you either SFP'd or the retest failed, right? Which is why I didn't give you guys any hype calls here above this level, because on the higher time frame there wasn't anything. If this had been a successful weekly retest, great. Let's all pile in. We probably go to rate the highs, right? But we didn't. We got the breakdown finally instead. So now, if we do this once, just keep it simple. You're back above here. It's like if you do want to enter hype, your logical stop loss is going to be again below this level, and your logical target is somewhere over here like this for initial TP. And then, you know, if you flip that into support, then you probably like go towards 35, and then we can talk about $50 after that. But again, if you want a safer stop, of course you're going to put it below this, right? So the risk to reward is completely up to you. How you put your stop loss is completely up to you. You're going to do it based on structure. You're going to do it based on the liquidation wake low. If you go to the weekly, for example, we have over here an old weekly buy seller zone, right? And you're at the mid of that right now. Once this weekly closes in 4 hours, you'll have a weekly buy seller zone here as well, within which you can actually get new weekly buy seller zones to give yourself DCA levels a bit lower. So I'd wait for that personally. But yeah, that's hype right there. So yeah, we've gone through everything we need to today, guys. Many things. XRP, yeah, huge at resistance though, so you've got to be careful here. But XRP, many things catching nice bids, and this is the beautiful thing about this space. Look, everyone was so bearish. Now I can guarantee the same people that were bearish are going to flip around and be like, oh yeah, I got so much Bitcoin at 78k, and I told you guys it was only a dip. You know what it is. I just don't pay attention to these clowns. Tara is another one. I think I already shared this chart with you guys, but just take a look. 886, right? So I went over this in my harmonic setup video back in September. But sadly, I didn't actually enter a position for this, so I didn't capitalize on this move up. Okay, so this was one I skipped out on, which is why I want to enter here. I should have entered at this weekly order block. I was looking at it happen, but I got greedy. I was thinking, oh, maybe I get the mid. Right, that would have been a nice entry. Didn't get it. It's what it is. So either we get that breakout retest and I'll enter Tara, or if the weekly keeps closing above this area, I might just do something like this, right? If the weekly closes above, now with the low cap like this, just please watch your position size. Don't put everything you have in it. But I might do something like this if the weekly closes above the mid of this box, because again, you're above what used to be resistance, right? But yeah, look, 886, right? On the bullish bad, type 2. There's your type 2, and now you're looking to be type 2 was successful. Weekly order block successfully auctioned. And you also have that, XAB 786, again, bearish butterfly, taking you up towards 0.36 cents, right? So from here, it's about 311%. If we do get any more pullbacks towards this zone, which I hope we do, that'd be like 433%. But Tara's one to watch for sure. Low cap play, but one to watch. The play here is basically we're looking to go take out this and this external liquidity. Go rate that. I don't care if we take this out, but at least take those two out. And then if we distribute, we look for shorts. You can short it long here on Mexi. If we don't distribute, we then look to take this out and then just rinse and repeat. Just liquidity hop in after liquidity hop in. Because above this, again, you don't have much straight up here, right? But Tara's one to definitely watch. Let's take a look. Yeah. Pepe's another one. Held that box. I shared this one in crypto chat as well. I shared pretty much all of these in crypto chat, but Pepe held. Did this get filled for me? I've not actually checked. One sec. PP derivative. Oh yeah, there we go. It wasn't a perfect entry at the 7.4, but it was pretty close. So this is the Pepe entry. Again, this was given in crypto chat and also on streams before, right? But that's Pepe. Yeah, sure, brother. No problem, man. Appreciate you guys popping in anyway. But yeah, that was Pepe. So right now you can see nothing to do but trying to enter Pepe here, middle of nowhere. Just like these arrows say, if you miss this one here, you wait for this, because that's going to be an important reclaim for us, right? If you don't get that and you get this, and I gave this over here, right? Because people were asking me, should I enter Pepe now? I said, look, you're at the area, sure, but you're not above the area, which is a big difference. People seem to not realize, right? Which is why I gave this two scenarios when we were over here. So what we got was we got into resistance. We didn't get the flip, therefore no entries were to be had, which is good because then you got your actual next entry here. You didn't get the raid, you got successful hold, right? And therefore, of course, successful retest. When you see something like this, you just do this. As soon as the confirmation candle opens, that candle would have opened over here. Put your stop loss below the confirmation low. Sorry, your retest wick low. And one extra step I do when I'm not scalping. When I'm scalping, I literally put it below the retest wick low. But when you're looking for more, a bit slightly higher time frame than just scalping trades, you also account for how much deviation have you had, right? So you look to the left here, there's deviation, deviation, deviation. Below that now is the one I'm happy with. I don't want to account for these, that's too far. But with this, you're accounting for all the major deviations you've had, and therefore you have a valid stop loss, right? A valid strategy, and also a, let's say we go over here, risk to reward wise is still worth it. Something like this, right? On Pepe. But yeah. Right guys, what I'm going to do then is, hopefully this was a useful stream in some ways. Like I said, don't FOMO into these coins at resistance, please. This reminds me a tiny bit like what was happening after the liquidation wick, right? The liquidation wick happened, we got the insane pump back up, the buyback on all the prices. I told you guys, look, we're at resistance. Even though the liquidation wick got eaten up, don't enter here yet because we're below resistance. And then what happened after that, we died some more slowly, right? So reminds me of that. People might start piling in only to once again just be in pain, right? At the end of the day, let's not forget BTC at resistance now. What was on support is resistance. So until this is flipped back into support, you're not going to be entering anything heavy here, especially on BTC. Now look at Bitcoin pairings and stuff to actually account for which alts you want to size up on, right? And of course, leverage versus spot's also going to make a big difference. Have individual theses for when you're going to cut each alts, but also look at the others dominance as a macro indication of when you should be cutting your alts, right? It's going to be a mix of all of those. But until this gets reclaimed on Bitcoin, the full-on bullish euphoria isn't back for me yet, right? We have until, of course, the end of March, start of April, like I said, to hit this intersection here as support, hopefully. So hopefully what we do is do something like this by the time March ends, rather than something like this. If we get this, that is bearish as hell. I'm going to be shorting, building swing shorts at that, right? But if you get this, obviously that's very bullish, and then you're looking at boom, 120 to 130 in my opinion. Get those final ABCD targets out before actually topping out, in my opinion. But yeah, all right, guys. So I'm gonna end this here. Thanks to each and every one of you for popping in. Appreciate you guys as always. From next week, we'll resume the one-on-ones, and we'll go back to regular streaming again. Now that everything's concluded on my end, pretty much, there should be nothing else coming in to like randomly take me off the scene for like another week, right? So no problem at all, brother. Hopefully this was helpful. Oh, the week after, brother. So let me look at the calendar. Sorry, after the 9th, basically. So 10th onwards. 10th, 11 onwards. Yeah. Right. Okay. I'll end this stream here.